Alright, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, is the Mass Ranker back again with another ranking, and today we are doing a ranking for all of the Shrek / Puss in Boots characters. That is right. Finished reviewing and ranking all the films, and so now this is what we are doing. And yeah, to be honest, there's a lot of characters in these films that are just like side characters that I just don't care for too much, so there will probably be a lot of D/F tiers. I did actually record this initially. I mentioned in the last video that I did the recordings initially for the Shrek films and the Shrek characters, but then I decided that I wanted to also include the Puss in Boots movies and characters. So yeah, I already did this one time around, so I have, hopefully I'll have some of my thoughts in line already. So first up we have Jack from Jack and the Beanstalk from Puss in Boots. I would give him probably D/F tier. He's in like one or two scenes. He has like, I think maybe a few good lines here and there that he has in like those, he's in like one scene basically. So I think that he is fine, but I would just give him like D tier, I would say. Next is Arthur from Shrek the Third. I would give Arthur probably like B tier. I think he was, maybe B tier is being a bit generous, but I thought it was fine. Like he's in the, you know, he felt like a good kind of character to like helps create a parallel between like Shrek's insecurities. I would say he has like some moments where he does actually like show his leadership skills, specifically towards the end where he like gives the big speech and stuff to all the villains, as well as he is able to like get Shrek and Donkey and Puss out of a situation by like pretending that they're all actors and stuff. So he has some good moments here and there, so I'll just give him B tier, I would say. Next is, this is Baby Bear. Baby Bear I would give probably, there's like a ringing outside. I really hope it doesn't show up in the recording, but like there's this ringing and it's been going on for the past few hours. It's not even the first time this is happening, so this is kind of annoying, but there's nothing I can do about it. So anyway, Baby Bear, I would give Baby Bear probably B tier. We'll go B for Baby Bear. Yeah, I think that honestly, pretty much all the characters in Puss in Boots: The Last Witch, they're going to be like probably B tier minimum, because I think that they are all just great. And yeah, Baby Bear, he was just another member of the bear family. His interactions with Goldilocks, I think, are good, and he is, yeah, he's just like, he's just a great character in the film, I would say. Next is I think his name is like Bounty Hunter. I mean, he's titled as just being a bounty hunter. He was in the first scene of Puss in Boots, he was like, Puss in Boots was like in his house or something, and I think Puss stole from him, so don't care for him. Filler character, D/F tier. Brody, also don't really care for him, just a Shrek that's part of it. Not a Shrek. He is an ogre that is part of the ogre rebellion against Lord, not Farquaad, Rumpelstiltskin. Yeah, so just don't care for him too much. This is the kid from Shrek's children's birthday party. He was like the dude, the war kid. It was a good scene, but I don't really care for the character himself. Hook, don't care for him too much. Just works with Prince Charming, and that's it. This dude, he's one of the Duloc generals or whatever. Not important at all, really. Cinderella. I think that the princesses in the third movie, I do like the princesses like as a whole, like the role that they serve helping out Fiona, but any particular princess I just don't really care for too much, so I'm going to give her D/F tier. The Commendator, I think I forgot what his actual name is, but he is basically the chief police of San Ricardo. I would give him probably D/F tier. It's like he starts off being very against like Puss and Humpty, but then Puss ends up saving his mother, so he's like, now he's has a good opinion of Puss, but then he ends up like, there's a whole San Ricardo heist thing that happens, and then he ends up like, yeah, hating Puss again, and then he just is kind of trying to arrest Puss most of the film. So D/F tier. Cookie, we'll go C for Cookie. I thought he was fine. He has like a few good scenes. He's voiced by, I forgot the voice actor, but he is a voice actor. Then he's in like The Office. He's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. So I do like the voice actor of him, and I do think that the character, he's not like a prominent character or anything, but he has like a few good moments here and there. So we'll go C tier. Next is the Doctor from Puss in Boots: The Last Puss. I keep saying Puss in Boots. It's not Puss in Boots. It's Puss in Boots. I will give the Doctor, I will say probably, okay, not B tier. I'd say probably C tier. Yeah, like again, no real bad characters in Puss in Boots: The Last Witch, but I do think that the Doctor specifically, he is kind of, he's just not that prominent. He's in like one scene where it's the scene where he like tells Puss that he's on his last life and stuff. So, you know, he serves a good role in the film, but not really that important. So just C tier. Donkey, solid A tier. He's great in the first film. I think the first film is where he's at his best. Afterwards, he is kind of like shafted a bit, like where he's still like going along with Shrek on his journeys and stuff, but he doesn't feel. I really like the first film where you have Donkey and Shrek's like initial relationship, where basically you have Shrek is like very insecure and he's like he's not willing to open up to people, but Donkey is like the first kind of person that he ends up opening up to. So I will give him A tier. Doris, I will say C tier. She's fine, I guess. She's voiced by Larry King, which is funny, I guess. But besides that, nothing too much that is, yeah, I don't really know. I think the joke with the character is that she's voiced by Larry King. That's kind of it. So we'll just go C tier, I guess. The Great Terror, I don't like the Great Terror. This is probably my least favorite part about the original Puss in Boots movie. It's just that the Great Terror just is not really, it's just the giant goose that she's good. She's trying to save her daughter, I guess, and because of that, it's just, yeah, not really. They portray, initially, the Great Terror is portrayed as like very intimidating and stuff, and you see like the red eye, and they say like, oh, if you look at the eye directly, then you could get turned to stone. I have no idea where that came from because that doesn't end up happening. But then afterwards, by the end of, like, they end up leaving the Giant's Tower, and then from there, the Great Terror just, like, shows up to San Ricardo. It doesn't really cause any destruction or anything, and then it's just going after her daughter, I guess. So just, it wasn't that interesting with the Great Terror, I would say. Puss himself, Puss, I would give solid S tier. I thought that he was great in, not even just, here, I didn't like him in the first few films, like within the Shrek films. I think that he's good, I would say, but he's not as portrayed as well as he is in the actual Puss in Boots movies. I think that when you get to the original Puss in Boots movie, I think he's great. When he is in Last Wish, I think that he's also very, very good with whatever it is that he's dealing with, whether it's in the first movie where he is, like, his whole complex relationship with Humpty, or, I don't know, his back and forth with Kitty, or in Last Wish when he is, like, dealing with his mortality and stuff. I think that it is all just very good to see. The character is very fun to watch. I think Antonio Banderas does a great job of voicing the character, and overall, I would say S tier, even if in the Shrek movies he is portrayed as like much weaker and like a lot less, more of like a joke kind of character rather than like a more legendary figure that he is in the actual Puss in Boots movies, I would say. So next is the Golden Goose. I would give the Golden Goose probably like D/F tier. I don't really care for the Golden Goose because it's, I don't know, they're all, she's just a plot device, honestly. Just like, she's not even a character. She's just like something that Puss, Humpty, and Kitty are trying to steal, and then once they steal it, it's like the Great Terror is trying to get her back. So just like a plot device, if anything, not really a character. Dragon, I would give Dragon, I don't really care for Dragon, to be honest, at any point. Like, I don't know, like, she has a relationship with Donkey, and besides that, she's like in the first movie as like the dragon that is guarding the keep that Fiona's at. And then after that, she's not in the second movie really at all. In the third movie, she's like briefly in it, I think. In the fourth movie, she does actually like serve a bit of a role that contributes to the plot, where she is under the control of like Rumpelstiltskin, I guess. So Fiona and Shrek do have to fight her again in that film, but even so, I don't really care for her that much. She is just not that, just not really that interesting to me. Donkey and Dragon's children, I will give D/F tier. Just don't care. I don't care for any of the babies in this franchise. They're just not, I just don't like any of them, really. Conscience, I will give a solid, I'm not going to go S tier, but I'll say A tier. I think that the Conscience is the Conscious bug, basically, that kind of is with Jack Horner. Not the entire film, but like a lot way towards like from the middle of the film towards like all the way through the end of the film, kind of Conscious, like basically seeing like all the horrible stuff that Jack does. I think that it's pretty funny. I like the voice actor. The voice actor does a good job voicing the character. And yeah, I'm not going to say S tier because he's not as prominent as some other characters, but I do think that he is still A tier. I would definitely give him. This is the Evil Queen. I would give the Evil Queen probably D/F tier, just another similar to Captain Hook, just a filler character that is working with Prince Charming in the third film, not that important. The Fairy Godmother, I would give her C tier just because she has a few good lines. I don't like her as a villain, really. It's just, she doesn't really do anything that actually contributes to taking down Shrek, besides like telling King Harold, oh, get rid of Shrek, and then, I don't know, Shrek is the one that actually has to take the handsome potion. It wasn't even her idea to give him the handsome potion, so, and then she ends up, her whole goal is just to make Charming into the king of far, far, far away, which wasn't even like a goal for her. It's like she was doing it for Charming, which, so I like the scenes where, I don't know, she has some good lines where she says like, the scene where she's like talking about breaking her diet and stuff, and they're at the drive-thru. I thought that was good. And so, and at the end, like the whole final performance, the I Need a Hero bit, that was also fine, I would say. So we'll go C tier for those things, but just overall, weakest villain, I would say, in the entire franchise from both Puss in Boots and Shrek, I would say. Shrek's children, I don't care for any of them. They're just, again, not really characters, more of just like plot devices. Specifically, like, he's worried about them being born in the third film, and then in the fourth film, he, like, is tired of them, and so it does lead to him end up making the deal with Rumpelstiltskin, and then he regrets his decision, basically. But these, I don't know, they're just, they're in some montages that just show them stressing out Shrek, and that's basically it. So, this is the nerd from the school that Arthur went to. I don't care for him, D/F tier. He's not a character really that much, so Gingy, I would give Gingy, I'll give him, I don't know, C tier. He has like some good lines here and there, but he's not as like, for how iconic I feel like his character kind of is, he's very much like not that prominent in the films. Like, yeah, the fairy tale characters in general, it's like they're most prominent in the third film, but even then it's like, I don't know, I thought that they would show up a bit more. Like in the first film, he's in like one scene with Lord Farquaad. In the fourth film, he's just like a barbarian for a bit, and that's it. In the third film, he does have like a bit to do with the other fairy tale characters, and in the second film, I guess he helps a bit with helping Shrek break into the castle, break into the castle. Yeah, so I just give him C tier. I don't really, not that prominent, so just C tier. Goldilocks, I would give her probably either B or A tier, and I'm going to give her B tier. She's pretty simple. The whole thing with her is that she just wants to get the shooting star to wish for a family of her own. But then over the course of the film, she learns that like the bears are her true family, and that she comes to appreciate them, and so she doesn't need the wish anymore. So pretty simple, but I think it works well. I like her relationship with the bears, and I think that she feels like an intimidating kind of another party that is going after the wish, I would say. So we'll say a solid B tier, we'll say. The governor from The Last Wish. Okay, this is, I guess, a character from The Last Wish that I just don't really care for at all. D/F here is not meant to be a character, really. He's just kind of like someone that, I think Puss throws a party in his house. I don't know how he got access to that, but he throws a party in his house, and then by the end of the film, he ends up stealing his boat. And so, yeah, he's just someone that Puss kind of is not treating the best, I guess. But yeah, so D/F here, not that important or anything. There's another just ogre from the rebellion. Don't care for her too much. I don't remember anything about her. This is Gwen, I think, from the third film. Don't care for her. I think Arthur liked her, but that didn't go anywhere at all, so I don't really care for her. Yeah, so D/F tier. Humpty, I will give, I'll go A tier. I think first of all, he's voiced by Zach Galifianakis, which he's like from the Hangover movies, which I was surprised by, because I think he also voiced like the Joker, I think, from like a Batman movie. So yeah, I thought he was voiced by like the guy that voices, I forgot his name, but it's like the dude that voices, for some reason, the only role that I can think of that he voices Nom Nom from We Bare Bears. It's like, I forgot his name. Now I'm curious. Let me see here. Who voices Nom Nom from We Bare Bears? It's like, it's a Patton Oswalt. Yeah, Patton Oswalt. So I think that, I thought that initially he was voiced by Patton Oswalt, but he wasn't. He was voiced by Zach Galifianakis, and I think that Zach Galifianakis does a great job. And the character himself is like interesting, like someone that Puss was like really close with in the past, and then there was like a betrayal that came, that they both kind of betrayed each other, and then it's like, but they end up working together, but then like he actually planned the entire events of the film out, and then his whole goal was just revenge. I don't think it's like the best of his motivations, because he himself initially betrayed Puss, and he's just like completely overlooking that fact that he kind of forced Puss to do the heist on San Ricardo. And then he's like, oh, you betrayed me on the bridge. And it's like, yeah, but you like kind of forced him to betray his town. So it's like, I feel like he kind of overlooks that fact when he's talking about like getting revenge on Puss and stuff. But even so, I still think that he is A tier. Next is Imelda. This is the mother that adopted Puss. She's also, I guess, the one that technically adopted. Who did I move by accident? Yeah, Imelda. Yeah. She adopted Puss. She also technically, I guess, adopted. She ran the orphanage basically that Puss and Humpty were at, and she's important, I guess, but I just don't really care for her. She's a motivation for Puss, I guess, to do what he does. So in the original film, Jack Horner, I would give solid S tier. I think that he is a very entertaining villain. I think that John Mulaney does a great job voicing the character. He has some of the best bits in the movie. This like dude that is very, very large and imposing, and he like uses all these like magic items and stuff for like the purposes of his own selfish desires, specifically to get the wish to control all of magic and stuff. I think he has great lines, a lot of great jokes, and yeah, he is just a very entertaining character to watch in The Last Wish. I would say it's a solid S tier. This is Jack. I would give, from Puss in Boots, I would give him probably like C tier. He's fine. Honestly, I think Jack and Jill are like probably the most, even more so than like Death, I would say, to an extent. They feel like the most kind of evil, not even evil, but like the most murderous, I would say, like, because they do actually directly murder people, which I don't think any other villain has done so. Even like Death, we never actually saw him kill anyone. So yeah, I would say that they are very, does a good intimidate. Like he is your Puss needs to steal from them, and then they eventually like, yeah, so they're like, him and Jill, I'll just put Jill now because like I basically just consider them to be together, yeah. So I would put them both in C tier. I think that they're a good, like, basically Puss needs to steal from them, and then they're secretly working with Humpty, I would say. So yeah, I thought that they were, I like the role that they served. I like just in general, I like it when it's like they take like fairy tales and then they implement it in the universe. So I think it's like cool to see. This is like the Jack and Jill of this universe, I guess. So C tier, these are the Serpent Sisters. I think, I honestly don't know what fairy tale they're from. Actually, I'll check what fairy tale they're from. What fairy tale is by the way, the beeping stuff, that's nice. Like that beeping in the background, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's like a beeping. It's like from a car or something. It goes on for like hours at a time, then like, I'm assuming someone stops it. So what fairy tale is are the Serpent Sisters from? Sounds pretty cool, the Serpent Sisters. I wonder what they're from. Do not come from a traditional folktale fairy tale. They are original character. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so they're not actually from a fairy tale. I guess they are just original characters from the film. They are like, I guess C tier. They're not really similar to Jack and Jill. I guess they serve a fine role in the film, where basically they bring the map to Jack Horner that he will use to get the wishing star, and then he repays them with like the Midas touch, where he turns one of them into gold, and then the other one just gets to be fine, I guess. So yeah, they're fine, I guess. This is the dude that was working for Fairy Godmother. I'll give him, I haven't seen tier. I like the scene with him where it's like basically the Shrek and Donkey and Puss, they pretend to be union workers, and it's like they ask him like if he feels like he's being abused. So I thought that was a good scene, but it wasn't like for his character. It was just because I liked the scene itself, so I thought it was a good scene. So next this is the reporter that was from the second film, if I'm not mistaken. I don't care for her. She like reported a bit. She was speaking about some fairy tale creatures that were at like the ball or whatever, and yeah. King Harold, I will give him A tier. I thought that he was one of my favorite characters from the second film. Third film, he ends up dying, but in the second film, I think that he's a good character. Yeah, I do like he wants what's best for Fiona, but he also like doesn't like Shrek at all, and I think that it's interesting. He ends up getting a redemption arc by the end where he sacrifices himself in order to protect Shrek, I think. And so, yeah, I think that he is a good character, solid A tier, I would say. And yeah, Kitty Softpaws, I would give her also A tier. I think that she was also great. I love her relationship with Puss. I think it's very fun to watch, whether it's in the original Puss in Boots film or if it is in Last Wish. And yeah, she's good thief, good, again, like a good dynamic that she has going on with Puss, where it's like they're kind of rivals, but they both like each other. And yeah, she is just another great character from Last Wish that I would give a solid A tier. This is Lancelot, voiced by John Krasinski, fun fact, and I would give him probably B/F tier. He's not an important character. He just initially, Shrek thinks that he is Arthur, and then he finds out he's not Arthur, so not really that important of a character, so just D/F tier. Next is Little Boy Blue. I'm assuming he's probably also from a fairy tale, maybe not though. I would give him D/F tier. He's not important. He's just some guy that bullied Humpty when he was a kid, and it led to Puss like kind of protecting Humpty, and then they became close from that. So just, yeah. Lord Farquaad, I would give him, I'll go B tier. He's a good villain. I do like him as a villain, but I do think that he is not that prominent. I think like every other villain does more than him, I would say, where it's basically at the start, he kind of just like hosts a tournament, and then he hires Shrek to rescue Fiona. And then after that, he doesn't really do anything for the rest of the film, except when he gets to the end, where he does basically he has the wedding, and then, but then he, like the only real like nefarious thing, I mean, he's not a good dude, but like the only thing he does against Shrek is basically he tells his guards to like attack Shrek and Fiona, like when he finds out that Fiona is a ogre, and then he basically, yeah, he wants to be king. It's like a good selfish motive, I think, and he's a good villain, but I do think that he is just not, I wish we saw more of him. I would say like B tier, so just B tier. Next is Mabel, the other ugly stepsister. I would give her D/F tier. She's not important, just similar to the Evil Queen or Captain Hook. She's just like, just another character that's working with Prince Charming, that's it. The Magic Mirror, I would give, he actually shows up in like more than just the first film. Like he's only important in the first film, but I think he actually just show up in like, I think definitely the second film, I think, and maybe the third film, but definitely also the fourth film, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, but he's in the first film, basically he just tells Lord Farquaad the information about like, oh, you need to be king, you need to marry a princess and stuff. Here are the princesses you can choose from. And yeah, that's pretty much all he does. So he's fine. I would say a bit more memorable than some of the other characters, but just C-tier, I would give him. This is Mama Bear. Yeah, Mama Bear, I would give her probably, about the same as Baby Bear, I would say. Yeah, I think honestly, all the bears I would put around like the same tier, just B tier. We'll go B for Bear. I think they're all good, similar to like Baby, the same things I said about him. Just good dynamic that they have going on with Goldilocks. And yeah, the fact that even after they find out that Goldie wish is for like a real family, they still want her to be happy, so they're willing to help her, even if it means that like her wish is to like get rid of them, kind of. So this is the cat lady from The Last Wish. I would give her probably, yeah, I guess D/F tier. I guess okay. There's like two characters I guess from The Last Wish that I just don't really care for that much, because yeah, she basically gives Puss a home. Like the doctor says to Puss, like, okay, I recommend you retire, go to this house of this cat lady, and then she'll like take care of you and stuff. And so she just takes care of, like, she gives Puss like a place to be. She names him Pickles and stuff, and gives him some mittens or whatever. And she doesn't really do much. And then the bears show up, and then yeah, so she just gets attacked by the bears and stuff. So I just don't really care for D/F tier. Merlin, I would give him not A tier, but I'll go B tier. He's not very prominent, but I do like his role in the third film, where basically he just he's like this crazy teacher that Arthur knows, and he's like, yeah, he's eating rocks or putting on the Scottish music to set the mood for Arthur and Shrek. I did like those scenes, that they were fun. And yeah, he's just this crazy old dude that I thought was pretty entertaining. I would say so, solid B tier. This is, I can't see who this is actually. This is so dark, I can't tell who this is. Let me see here. Oh, there's like a bit of, I don't know the word, but like there's there's some glare on my screen from like the light, so I couldn't actually tell who this was. This is Mongo, the giant gingerbread from the second film. I don't really care for him. He's in like one scene basically where they use him to get close to the castle to break in, and then he just, I guess, he helps them get into the castle. He ends up falling to the lake. Assumingly, I guess he dies, but yeah, I mean, we see him at the end, like during the whole dance sequence at the end. So he's not dead technically, but I mean, I don't know what happened to him, and I just don't really care for him, so just D/F tier. Robin Hood, don't care for him either. He's in one scene to show off that Fiona, like, she's not a typical princess and that she could fight and stuff, and that was it. So the Muffin Man, I don't know why I include him really. I would just give him like D/F tier. Yeah, I don't know, he's in a few scenes here or there. I don't remember him too much. He's very forgettable. And by the way, none of this includes like the characters in the actual specials and stuff. Like there's the Halloween. I know that the Muffin Man specifically is a bit more in like the Scared Shrekless special. And at some point I'll do something. I don't remember if I mentioned this. I think I spoke about this. it might have been in the recording that I ended up getting rid of when I initially just did the character ranking for just the Shrek characters. I'll do something eventually with the Scared Shrekless and like the Christmas Shrek specials. At some point I'll like eventually talk about them in some form, but I just don't know when that'll be. So anyway, this is meant to be a representation of all the witches basically from the fourth film, and I don't really care for any of them in particular. I do know that this one specifically, she was voiced by the same person that voices Mabel from Gravity Falls, so cool to see. But the witches I just don't care for, so yeah. This is Perlo, I think, name meaning like little dog. And I would give him I'll give him B tier. Honestly, as I let it marinate, I do like his role in the story a bit better. I think I said in my review that it's like out of all the characters didn't really care for him as much as others. But I think he was actually, I don't know, the more I think about it, I do like him. I liked his role in the story basically of like being the only like morally good character that is going after the wish. I mean, that's the thing, he's not even going after the wish. He's just going along. He views Puss and Kitty as his friends basically, and he does kind of like, yeah, he's just a fun character that's like very morally good, that kind of helps change, I guess, Puss's and Kitty's perspective on things here and there. So yeah, I'll give him B tier. I thought that he was, yeah, good. I would say good moments here and there, and we'll say B tier. I'll be generous. And so yeah, Pied Piper, I would give him C tier. The character himself, he's just in like two scenes basically where he makes some witches dance. He also makes the ogres dance. I thought the scene was good, and I guess the scene was like curated by the Pied Piper. But the character himself, like, he doesn't talk or anything. He just like plays the flute, gets people to dance. It's cool, I guess, but the character himself is not. Like, the scenes are better than the character, I would say. This is meant to be like the Three Little Pigs. I don't care for them. They're fine use if you're. I remember the most from the Scared Shrekless special, but again, we're not talking about that now. So, but in the actual movies, like, they have some good lines here and there, but not enough for me to rank them higher than D/F tier. Pinocchio, I will give him I'll go C tier. He's a bit more, out of all the fairy tale creatures, I would say he's like probably the most memorable, I would say. And yeah, he's got some good jokes here and there, like with the whole can't lying thing, like that's the whole gag with him basically. And like nose grows if he lies and stuff, so I thought that there's some good moments with that, definitely, so we'll say C tier. Prince Charming, I'll give him C tier. I do like his motivation. I think that his motivation is very good for the third film. Like the fact, like the characters that did not get their happily ever afters, like they feel left out, like they want their own happily ever afters. Like, it's good motivation for him as the rest of the other villains. The character himself, I think in the second film he's good. In the third film, he's also like, he's good, but he's like probably out of all the villains, he's the least threatening, where every other villain up until this point, they feel more so like they're capable of causing harm to the main characters, whereas Prince Charming, he feels like the most, like we've already seen him get defeated sort of in like the second film, and in this film it's like he's very much, at the very start, like he's recruiting all these other villains, but it feels like those other villains are the ones that are like the real threat and not him himself. Even by the end of the film, like everyone's laughing at him, and it's like he feels like he's kind of treated as like a joke and not taken seriously. So yeah, just because of that, I'll say he's good, but just C tier, I'll give him. Fiona, I think that she's good in the first film, but after the first film, it does feel like the second film, she feels a lot less prominent, except like when she's fighting with Shrek. In the third film, she is like with the other princesses, and in the fourth film, she just feels like a plot device, honestly. So I would say, yeah, I liked her in the first film, though. I would give her like probably just either B or C tier. I'll be generous, I'll give her B tier. I think she's fine, but she's like definitely just, I don't know, like similar to Donkey, like she was the best in the first film, and then afterwards she just kind of never gets back to that same level, I would say. Next is the Queen. I think her name is like Lillian, I'm pretty sure. I would give her probably B tier. I think that she's good. Her interact, like when she's speaking with the king or whatever, when she's with Fiona, I guess, she's a good character overall. Like the scenes that she's in, not very prominent, but like, you know, good when she's doing whatever she's doing. So this is Raoul, that's his name, from Puss in Boots. He just basically kind of tells Puss about the magic beans and that the fact that he can get them from Jack and Jill. Don't care for him too much, just D tier. I'll give him. Rapunzel, the princess that ends up betraying she ends up betraying the rest of the princesses. I thought initially when I saw the film, like the first time I saw it, I thought it was, from what I remembered on like I thought it was Cinderella that was the one that betrayed the princesses and was working with Prince Charming, but it's actually, no, it's Rapunzel. And I don't care for her. Again, like just similar, pretty much all the princesses I'll say now, just like I don't really, they're all fine. I think collectively they're good, but I think that there's no individual one that I really care for too much. I think Snow White was the one I liked the best, just because she had like the Led Zeppelin scene where she was singing the immigrant song, which I thought that was cool to see, I guess. So for all the princesses in general, I just don't really care for that much. So just D-slash up here. Rumpelstiltskin, I will give him solid A tier. I think he's the most like theatrical, eccentric villain that there is. The one that's like very much like over the top, I would say, with like whatever he's when he's talking and like his plans and stuff, kind of. So I would definitely say A tier, great villain, and yeah, very just enjoyable to watch, very funny and stuff. Solid A tier, good motivation, wanting to get revenge on Shrek for basically ruining his chances of taking over the kingdom, and then ultimately like he does trick Shrek, and yeah, just overall great villain. I would say A tier. Shrek himself, I am going to give a solid A tier. I would say it would be maybe S tier, but I do think that probably the fourth film does sacrifice a bit of his like comedic nature, which I did like about him in the other three films. So I do think that he is still a very good character, a great lead for the Shrek films, but I do think that the fourth film, he just falters a bit because it focuses so much on like the actual plot itself rather than in like, so we don't have the dynamic shifts where it's like the first three films, it's like he's very grumpy and stuff and dealing with whatever situations he's in. In the fourth film, he's not like grumpy anymore. He's just like really worried about like getting his old life back and stuff. So yeah, the big bad wolf, just another fairy tale creature that I just don't care. Actually, I like the one scene where Prince Charming in the second film, like at the start, Prince Charming shows up to the tower and like is gonna rescue Fiona, but then the big bad wolf is there, and then I like the delivery of like where he says like she's on her honeymoon, basically referring to Fiona. I like that, and you know, I'll give him a C tier just for that because I did like that one. That one scene basically just, it's a memorable scene, I'll say, so just C tier for that. This is, I forgot his name, I think his name is like Thaddeus or something like that. I would give him probably D-slash F tier. I remember him in like one of the specials for one of the Halloween specials. I think he was like a bit more prominent, but he's in the first film basically. He just is working for Lord Farquaad, and the only thing I remember about him is like when Farquaad is trying to pick what princess he should pursue, that he's like, pick three, my lord. He's like, pick number 3, my lord, but he's holding up 2 fingers. I thought that was funny, but yeah, besides that, he's just very forgettable. He just doesn't really do much he's just not that prominent, honestly, so just D-slash up here. The three blind mice, D/F tier, they're not important. Out of all the fairy tale creatures, they're like the least important ones, I guess, that barely show up. It's like just, they're in a few scenes, they're blind, they're mice, that's all there is to them. So then we have, here we go, second to last one, we have the trees from the third film. They are just some more characters that are working with Prince Charming. Not too important or anything. They're just, again, working with Prince Charming and they're guarding the castle or whatever, and that's it. And then finally, we have Death himself. I am going to give Death, I would say, probably S tier. He is a fantastic villain, just the personification of Death. Going after Puss in Boots, he is like villainous in the sense that he, like, Puss still has one life left, but he's like, okay, you're such a cocky legend that I'm just going to take your life prematurely. And it's like, don't tell anyone, basically. So he's still villainous. Like, he's definitely still, he's a villainous character. I do like just, yeah, the aspect, like just his presence. It's like he's got the best presence. Anytime he shows up, the whistling that goes on, the environment just gets really tense and stuff. Just he's a very well portrayed villain. He's like very cool in the fight scenes, the sickles that he uses, the interactions, like when he speaks with Puss and stuff, like just Puss, the fact that like Puss is so afraid of him. It's just so many aspects to him that I just think are S tier worthy. And so yeah, solid S tier we're gonna give him. We'll do side style, and we'll do it for here. This is one of the, I did say initially that I would like, I remember a while ago I did say that I will only do side style for the ones that have one row. But then at another point I did say something about how like if it's something that's like a long time coming, like if it required a lot of, like if it's like a really big ranking, then I would do for more than just the rows with one, more than just the tiers with one row. And so yeah, I don't know. I guess we could try to do side style for the. We'll just, and honestly, we're not going to bother. We're just going to say the C tiers. We'll leave it as it is. We'll do just for B tiers and up, we'll say. So we'll say last place is, yeah, probably the Queen. Then we will go with probably, I'll say Arthur. And then we'll go Baby Bear. Actually, we'll say like probably Mama Bear, then Baby Bear, then Daddy Bear. And then we will go with probably Perlo. Actually, no, probably Fiona, and then Perlo, and then Merlin, then Goldilocks, then Lord Far. Actually, I think probably, yeah, Merlin, then Lord Farquaad, then Goldilocks. Then for the A tiers, we will go with probably last place. We will say is, these are all really good ones. I'll say probably Locust, just because he shows up the least. Then we'll go with, I think Donkey, and then we'll go Humpty Dumpty. Then we'll say probably the King, and then I think, what do I like better, Shrek or Rumpelstiltskin? I think Kitty we're gonna put at top of A tier. I think probably we'll go with, I think we'll go Rumpelstiltskin, and then we'll go Shrek, and then we'll go Kitty. And then finally for the S tiers, I'm going to give it to, probably last place we will go with Jack Horner. And then I think, yeah, Death, and then Puss in Boots. I think Puss in Boots is just the very favorite character from all these films, I would say. And yeah, so that is my ranking of all of the Shrek / Puss in Boots characters. And so if you have any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, manga, web series, anything that you want me to review or rank or compare rankings, it does not have to be media related. It could be anything. Leave it in the comments and I will maybe possibly check it out. With that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So let's leave it at that.